Hello everyone, my name is Nathan, and these are a few of my personal opinions. First off everyone, welcome back to another week of Nate's Escapades, doing our journal entries here this week, where I take you on my adventures, on my escapades, going to different ports of call, traveling on board cruise ships as a video producer. This week is going to be a little bit different. We're not talking about ports of call, but we are still talking about Alaska. This week we are talking about the excitement of flight tours. Flight tours are a bit of a different monster when it comes to those tour excursions. Those experiences cost a lot more. So crew members usually, whenever we are working on board cruise ships, tour excursions that are offered through the ship company is usually either covered for us or at least offered to us at a discounted rate. When it comes to flight tours, however, part of the cost of a flight tour is the cost of fuel, and because of that, the prices are much more expensive. This means that crew members usually are not allowed at all to go on a flight tour at any point during a season. When it comes to exploring a flight tour, usually shore excursion officers are the only ones who get to experience this. For me as a video producer, it was a once in a lifetime chance opportunity. There were a lot of things that had to fall into place in order for me to be able to go and then provide this experience so that other people could at least watch a video capturing the highlight of a flight tour. Another thing to talk about is cancellation policies. When it comes to actually going on these flight tours, there is a cancellation policy. Anytime when there's an event due to weather, refunds are sometimes not a part of it. So you always want to pay attention to what are the rules and regulations when it comes to purchasing these tour excursions or flight tours. It doesn't matter if it's a helicopter tour or a seaplane tour. Make sure you check those cancellation policies, whether it be due to weather or extenuating circumstances. I kind of mentioned this already, but the cost is much more expensive in comparison to most tours. Whether it's a helicopter tour or a seaplane tour, the cost is going to be exponentially more expensive whenever you are going out on these tour excursions. Another thing we need to talk about is the limited access. You are only allowed to offer the same number of tickets as there are seats on the plane. And in this day of COVID, those numbers may even change again depending on what the rules and regulations will be whenever Alaska opens up. So something to pay attention to is how many seats are even available on these tour excursions. For helicopter tours, the usual cap number can sometimes be 4 or even less. When it comes to the seaplane tour, the maximum number at most was usually somewhere between 8 to 12 people depending on the size of the plane. And then the last thing we need to talk about is the weight limit that is applied to these tour excursions. You are limited as to how much luggage you're allowed to bring, if any at all, and usually everything has to fit to your person. You are responsible for everything that you bring on board the plane with you, whether it's attached to you or a part of you. The weight limit guide is going to be attached to the tour excursion that you are interested in. Whatever that weight limit is per person is going to be your cap. You want to pay attention to these whenever you are possibly thinking about booking a tour excursion experience. Alright, now that we got the cons of flight tours out of the way, let's go ahead and dive into what makes those experiences great. When it comes to the best tour excursions in Alaska, as far as flight tours go I should say, you are usually going to pay attention to one of two. You're either going to pay attention to the seaplane tour, or you're going to look into the helicopter tours that are offered in Juneau. Let's start off with the seaplane tours that are offered in Ketchikan. In Ketchikan, you are usually able to combine a food experience as well as a seaplane tour, combine the two to go on this adventure. You go out on a flight, usually somewhere between 30 minutes to an hour, sometimes 45 minutes. Pay attention to your tour excursion description as to how long the flights are supposed to last. There is an opportunity for wildlife on these tours, but it's pretty rare and the animals are significantly far away because you are flying in a seaplane. And also bear in mind, you're going to most likely have to shoot outside of a window. Usually it's a bubble glass looking surface whenever you are shooting your camera out. These tour excursions are pretty enjoyable, pretty exotic scenery, and if you're a crew member going, it's it's an amazing opportunity, and you should always take full advantage of every minute you get. Alright, now we are going to jump into the different helicopter options. When it comes to the helicopter tours that are offered in Juneau, most of the tours are going to take you up to the top or to different parts of Mendenhall Glacier. On these different tour excursions, there's a possibility to go ice climbing, a possibility to go dog sledding, and even a possibility to go just on a glacier walk. For me, I went on a glacier walk. We spent about 30 minutes to 40 minutes getting to the glacier, and then we spent close to 30-40 minutes just walking on top of a glacier. The experience of walking on top of a glacier is something that I am going to treasure for a lifetime, because glaciers are limited as they are, and to go onto the face of one of the most famous glaciers in Alaska is pretty cool. And being able to touch glacier ice and to touch the actual top and the surface of those glaciers finally, after experiencing them quite a few different times, it's a moment that I truly do treasure. Which begs the question, would you prefer going on a helicopter tour in Juneau or a seaplane tour in Ketchikan? Between these two experiences that I got to be a part of, for me, I prefer the Juneau helicopter tours. The biggest reason is that you go to a place unlike anywhere else. You get to go on top of a glacier. You get to walk on top of a glacier or explore a glacier in one way or another. Whereas with the seaplane tour, you always remain inside a plane. While you are able to get different views inside a plane, going to and from wherever it is that you're traveling to go on top of a glacier, that is truly an amazing tour excursion. But at the end of the day, as I always say, these are just my opinions. Well, everyone, that is going to wrap it up for the Alaska season. Thank you so much for joining me on all of these journal entries, and I hope I get to share more adventures with you to come. As I always say, everyone, remember the difference between an ordeal and adventure is your attitude. Until next time, everyone, peace out, signing out.